welcome to another episode of The Influential Nonprofit. I'm your host, Maryanne. Of course, that you know that I work with nonprofit leaders to grow their and master the art of influence so they can ask for and receive all they want, need, and deserve without feeling rejected, ineffective, or pushy. Because who wants to feel that? We want fundraising to feel joyful, exciting, aligned, the true gift that it is. And this is the second part in my series on deepening donor relationships. And I talked last time, I think it was in fact, I know it was episode 161, where we talked about understanding how donors think and feel and how donors and be able to read what's really happening with them. I'm going to extend that conversation a bit and talk about why donors act, why donors choose, make a decision or not. And now I'm going to talk about fundraising, but really, this is for why anybody decides really anything. And because as fundraisers, that's what we want. We want, like, what motivates you? What will excite you? What will get you to say, yes, that's for me? I say, yes, let's do that. What will do that? And I'm gonna talk to you how to figure out what that is. First of all, remember what you want to be is an influential leader, an influential fundraiser. Why is that so important? That's the core of what I do. So let's go down to the basics. Because in influence, when I'm of value to you, you'll be of value to me. I'm not traditional fundraising says, if you'll be of value to me, if you give us money, then I will thank you, put your name on something, right? We're going to reverse that. I want to be of value to you because when I'm of value to you, you feel seen as a potential donor, as a donor, you feel seen and heard, you feel understood. You're going to be more likely to listen to what I have to say. So my first job is always to have someone feel seen and heard. The most frustrating position you can put anyone in, and you've probably been in a situation like this, is to not feel seen and heard, not to feel like they don't understand you, they don't get you. And it is such a frustrating place. And oftentimes donors are in that place because we're not really hearing what they have to say because we want to see them. We have an agenda, right? We have an agenda. We want a certain thing to happen, and wanting that thing to happen, we are only picking up the clues that we want to see, which is why sometimes you go to a meeting and then you come out all excited and nothing happens and they never get back to you or whatever. It's because they were probably trying to let you down, but you weren't picking up on that clue because you only wanted to read the clues that said, let's move it forward. I talk about this all the time. Let me think about it and get back to you. Send me something over in writing and I'll share it. So let's talk about what this looks like, okay? How do we know what donors, how can we understand what donors really want so we can be of value to them so we can meet their needs? From the lens of influential leadership, number one, we have to understand that each of us has what you can call an ego system, not an ECO, an EGO system, ego system of how we see and define ourselves. And certain things are going to fall within our ego system. It's like a window, right? Certain things are going to go inside that window and certain things will fall outside that window. Whatever falls in that window, we will support and defend. Whatever falls outside that window, we will reject or dismiss. So we have to understand that you are meeting someone with a pre-programmed ego system. And if you are asking for something outside of that ego system, they will dismiss or deflect it. I'm going to give you a couple of examples, okay? I'm going to talk about boards because I think this is a really good example, but let's say you have a board member and part of their ego system is they are smart and capable, and you are asking them to help fundraise. And when you ask them to do that, they are going to feel maybe ill-prepared, incapable, not successful. That is going to fall outside their ecosystem and they won't do it. Okay, because it's outside of where they feel comfortable. If they see themselves as smart and capable and you're asking them to do something, and they don't feel smart and capable in doing it, they won't do it. They won't do it. You will support and defend anything inside. You will deflect, dismiss, or deny everything outside. That's why it's hard to accept compliments. Like I say, oh my God, you're so smart. Or something like, Maryanne, you're so smart. I'm like, okay, thank you. I won a few rounds of trivia. Oh, you're the smartest person in the world. Wait, I'm not that smart, because that's outside my ecosystem. So I can be smart, but if somebody says, oh, you don't know anything, I'm like, wait, oh, yes, I do, because I will support or defend anything that falls inside that ecosystem. So your job is to listen and understand what's going on in someone's ecosystem. What is the lens through which they view themselves? Now, let's say you're working with somebody and they see themselves as, oh, I'm just a small donor. I'm just a small donor. And you're asking them for you think they have the potential to give a large amount of money, but they see themselves as, I'm just a small donor. Ask to say, no, you're a major donor. This is amazing. Like, oh, no, that's outside. They're going to deflect that. They don't see themselves as a major player. Mm, And so our job is to understand what's going on in that ecosystem. Some people in their ecosystem, they like significance. They like to have their name splashed. They like to have that importance, which is great and fine and a need that you can meet. But some people are like, yeah, my ecosystem is about being really understated, and I don't need people to know where I'm giving the charity. That's important to know too. Those are just two ways of operating in the ecosystem. So if I'm listening for, what does this person value about themselves? And because what I need to relate to needs to fall within that window. Now, there's two things I can do to kind of widen the ecosystem. The first is to minimize the risk. So if I'm asking somebody to maybe, make a large gift, and that's falling out, oh God, I don't have I don't have $5,000. Like, okay, because that starts to feel threatening. We can minimize the risk. Oh, how about you pledge $5,000 over the next 2 years? Oh, yeah, okay. Because I see myself as a certain level of donor. I see myself as a certain level of wealth. And if you push me outside of that, I will feel uncomfortable. I want to know what's inside your ecosystem. That is the main number one job, is to understand that we're all operating within these specific ecosystems. And if something comes to us, again, we will support or defend anything that goes through the window, and we will attack anything outside. So we want to minimize the risk, right? And we want to lower the risk. And then the second thing is, we want to like work with folks to possibly expand their sense of self. And like, well, and I'm going to go back to like, somebody's like, there's no way I could give that much money. I don't have that. Okay, totally understand. They see themselves in a certain way. Then now it's working with them to maybe expand their sense of self, and and to say, that they are a leader, that like you see so much in them that they're not seeing. So you can also work with them to expand the sense of self. Now, this doesn't come like quickly, okay? It takes a little bit to be able to shift our sense of self, yet we are capable of doing it, of expanding that window. So we're either going to lower the risk or grow the window. And how we grow the window is to help people step slowly outside of their comfort zone. So going back to the board and fundraising, because this is always an easy example, is, like, okay, they are not going to do what you want them to do because the risk is too high, right? And the risk to their ego is too high. So we're going to lower the risk and also expand their sense of self. So if they're like, oh, I'm not good at fundraising, that's really scary, I'm not going to do that because that would, that would make me feel incompetent. And part of my identity is to feel competent. Okay, awesome. And also then I can lower the risk, or I can expand their sense of self by saying, hey, there's part of fundraising is asking for money, but a lot of it is making connections, and you're really good at connections. See, I'm expanding their definition of what fundraising is in order to fit their definition of their self. I did a training and the board's like, we hate fundraising. Like, well, what do you love? Well, we love telling people about the organization and giving tours. Like, guys, that's fundraising. Oh, okay, cool. Let's do that. Yeah, you're already doing it. You think you're not doing it or you're not good at it. All we had to do was decrease the risk and expand the definition of expand the ecosystem. So first step, we're going to understand the ecosystem. Okay. And step two is as you're speaking with people, you're going to be building a profile, what I call, an ecosystem map. When I do my training and I do my courses, I do this empathy mapping where you learn to read people and understand what's going on for them. This is sort of like live time empathy mapping where you're listening for what they value, right? Like I said, some donors, they may want their name everywhere. Other donors do not like that. That is not their style. And so if you're saying, oh, we'll put your name everywhere, and they're like, that's my worst nightmare. Oh, okay. This, when we do sponsorship packages, and don't even get me started on that. But you're putting when you give the tables away to your sponsors, that could be their worst nightmare, is to have to go to a party and find 8 friends to join them. Like that's not who they are. And now they have to step outside of their ecosystem. And now they're not comfortable because it's just not part of their identity. And you could say, okay, well, maybe we could, you could minimize the risk. Like maybe there's a way they could share the table or expand their sense of self. Like no problem, right? If that's not for you, or hey, like or you could say, I'm trying to think of how to solve this one, but expanding their sense of self as far as, I can work with them a little bit to help them expand their sense of self and saying, hey, if that's, if you don't want to fill a table, we totally get it. We could partner with someone, or we could give the table to somebody else or whatever. Like, yes, please. Because again, I'm there to meet their needs. Okay. And I'm there to meet your needs, and I want you to feel comfortable. And because if it's inside your ecosystem, it's good. So you're building a profile. And it's not about the demographics and the psychographics. And as there's a term I use called the pains and gains. So the pains is like, what are they struggling with? And not just struggling with around your organization, just in their life in general. Maybe they just dropped their last kid off at college. Maybe they just moved or went through a divorce or something. Like, what are they struggling with right now? What are they struggling with in the world? What are they worried about? It global warming, elections, I don't know, whatever it is. I want to know that. And then their gains. What is their vision? What is the legacy they want to leave? What is the legacy they see important in the world? Those pains and gains are so important. And when I work on messaging, those pains and gains become the core of the messaging that we want to create. Okay. Because I'm either relieving a pain or giving somebody a gain. And so once I have that kind of like, I'm listening for the pains and gains, and I'm creating this ecosystem, a map that now I understand what motivates this person. And when I understand what motivates them, I can give them solutions that fall within that motivation. That is the bottom line. Again, I can't meet your needs until I know what they are. So we're going to stop pitching and pushing and trying to sell it. And, if I could just explain to them how awesome we are, set all that aside. That there is a point to that, but that's not how we lead. We lead by listening, right? And we lead by understanding that what do they value? How do they see themselves? And how can I reinforce that for them? Because that's what will make them act. But that's like truly it. Okay, now step 3. This is where it's about you. Now, if you listen to anything that I practice, fundraising is an inside out game. Everything is an inside out game, right? The energy comes from inside out. It comes from within you to others. And when you are comfortable, when you are excited, when you are confident, people will pick up on that. And I heard this line the other day and I love it so much and I've completely internalized it. It's I can only see in others what I see in myself. So step 3 is to expand your ecosystem. Expand your sense of self, because when you do that, when you open that window wider, you're able to see more people for who they are, and also a lot less stuff bothers you and triggers you, because everything is kind of like in the window and it's okay. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on this so you understand really what I'm talking about here. If I see myself as like, I'm not a very confident fundraiser, then that will be my ecosystem, and I am this. I am not confident. Okay. If I start to feel confident, I'm like, oh wait, hold on, but is that really who I am? Because I think I'm not confident. Then I'm gonna go back to where I'm comfortable. Like, wait, I am confident. I am good at this. Hold on. Hold on. That can be a part of my ecosystem. I can ask somebody for a lot of money. I can do this. I can expand my sense of self. If I see myself as, I'm a kind person, and sometimes I'm not kind, I that will feel very threatening to me. And also, I can see myself, yes, I'm a human being. Sometimes I'm kind, sometimes I'm not very kind, because I'm a human being. So, and I can still feel not great about maybe being mean or short or not kind. And also, it doesn't really land or lay within me because I know that it's part of my ecosystem. Yeah, that happens. So the more that we can love and accept all parts of ourselves, the parts we like and the parts we don't like, the more that we can own our confidence, that own our worth. I had a like a happy hour thing with a friend. He's this amazing person. He used to live in St. Louis. He hasn't lived in St. Louis in years, but he comes through every once in a while, and he just married this woman and they're amazing. And this woman, and she was talking about how I ran the New York City Marathon, and my friend Glenn, her new husband, says, oh, she's done like 40 marathons. And she said, it's really not that big of a deal. And I said, yes, it is, Lori. It's a very big deal. At this table, we claim our, we claim our worth, and that is a big deal. Oh, it's not, because in her mind it's not a big deal. It is a big deal, right? And it can be a big deal or not a big deal. It can be both those things. Like, sure, when you're in the marathon and there's thousands of people running, like, it doesn't feel like a big deal, but to other people it is a big deal. And both of those things are true, and they can both be a part of her ecosystem. So the more that we can expand our sense of self and who we are, the more we can see who other people are, and we can see it clearly. Because most of the time, what bothers us about other people's behavior is it's because we are acting out of alignment within our own ecosystem. So if you see somebody not, if you see yourself as being like very kind and inclusive, and you see somebody that's not acting kind or inclusive, and that's going to bother you, like, oh, that really makes me so mad. How could they do that? Like, that's not about them. Okay. That's about you saying, wait, hold on. Are there times when I'm not as kind or inclusive as I think I am? Could this be something in me that I could either work on or accept or do some work on? Anytime somebody's behavior bothers you, it's not about them, it's about you. And it's a tension in your ecosystem between who you think you are and who you're actually being. That's really it. Bottom line here is, the more you can expand your sense of self, the more you can see in others, the more you can read other people. And this is so critical to relationship building, to fundraising, to anything in life. You got to do your inner work. You understand how your thoughts and feelings contribute to your everyday decision making, how your ecosystem operates, and being conscious of that and being conscious of this expansion allows you to be really open and present for the people you're connected to. 100% shift in that energy. The neediness, the terror, the fear, all of it just melts away, because whoever they are is okay, because whoever you are is okay. And when you navigate the world through that, it's so great. It's so good. Okay. Last thing I want to say is, let me just walk through the first three, right? We're going to understand the ecosystem. And then two, we're going to build a profile. So as you're talking with somebody, or as you're meeting with somebody, or maybe you can put this in your CRM, you're going to understand not just their demographics, but their pains and gains, what truly motivates them. And then three is expand your own ecosystem, do your work, understand how you function in the world, and expand your view of self. Because the wider your view of self is, the more that you can accept others. You can't see in others what you don't see in yourself. The more clearly you see yourself, the more clearly you see others. The last one, number 4, is respect their truth. Because using this methodology, you will hear people tell you the truth. I do all kinds of workshops on how to get somebody to say yes, but the bottom line is the easiest way to get somebody to say yes is give them the ability to say no. If this isn't for you, that's totally okay. All I want you to do is help somebody make an empowered choice. That's it. Make an empowered choice. What is the empowered? And that could be your nonprofit. It could not be. Right. So we're going to respect their truth. We see people for who they truly are, not who we want them to be. And if their pains and gains, their needs don't align with yours, that's okay. They weren't for you. And you can be honest about that instead of playing the fantasy. Let me think about it and get back to you. Let me send something over in writing and I'll take a look. Those are people who are trying to say no, but they don't know how because you didn't give them permission to say no from the beginning, and they don't want to disappoint you or hurt you. So they'll say niceties like that so they don't have to say no. But I want to see people for who they truly are. And I know you do too. So when I give people permission to say whatever you decide is totally okay, they go, oh, all right, well, let me see. Okay, if there's no alignment, there's no alignment. If there is, there is. Remember, you can't make somebody care. That's not your job. This is the core of my work. You can't make somebody care. Your job is to find what's in somebody's heart, their philanthropic heart, what their passion is, and see if it connects to your mission. If it does, let's move forward. If it not, that's okay too. They'll find their passion somewhere else. And it's okay to find that. It's okay. They were never going to do it. And that's when I say respect their truth. Because when people don't open your email, they're telling you the truth. When they haven't given in years, they're telling you their truth. Believe their truth. See them for who they're telling you they are. You stop mailing to them. Stop. It's okay. Release them. They weren't going to be yours in the first place. And that's okay. Because when we start seeing people for who they truly are, the right ones come like a beacon, like from the ashes they rise, and those are the best long-term loyal relationships because they are rooted in a common sense of identity, right? Their identity and your organization's identity align, they connect. And yes, you can minimize risk and expand somebody's sense of self over time, very slowly, right? That's not something that's going to happen, but that is something that you could work on. And also respecting somebody for who they truly are and not trying to convince them that there's something else. Oh no, but this is totally for you. Let me tell you why. Or getting upset if they're not connecting to your cause. Because a lot of times, and I get that it hurts. Like, why don't people care about, this disease or this problem? That makes me so upset. That there are people who do. They are there, and you're going to find them and connect with them, and it's going to be amazing. And that's just not that person, and that's okay. And so because it's just not inside their ecosystem, it's not part of their identity. I'm going to give you a quick example, and I'm going to wrap up. All right, so my friend Rachel, You might know her. She's a fundraising consultant and a speaker and an amazing human being. Um, Rachel D'Souza, for, I would say about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, no, it's been longer than that. So many years ago, she was really involved in Go Red for Women, like really involved, like a spokesperson on all the billboards, blah, blah, blah. It was a huge, huge, huge deal because she had had a heart attack, long story. She had a health crisis. And this was a really pivotal experience in her life. And so, we live our life in cycles, and this life cycle, this 7-year cycle, she was really involved in Go Red for Women and the Heart Association. All right. And guess what? Then I was too, because I love Rachel. I love my city. I love my fundraising nonprofit community. It's part of my identity. Heck yeah, I'm supportive. I'm in there. Yes. Did I love Go Red for Women? Not really, but it's not their fault. Right? It just wasn't in my ecosystem. So when Rachel kind of moved away from that cause, I moved away from that cause. But I moved before her, but like I was in it because I was loyal to her, that I cared about this person. That was what was in my ecosystem. I'm a supportive person. I support my friends in the good that they want to put in the world. Was it necessarily the specific good that I wanted to put in the world? No. And so I moved away, which is completely fine because really there was nothing that organization could do to really make me stay. My heart lies in other places. That's because that's in my ecosystem and how I was raised and all my formative experiences, what I call the philanthropic heart, that ground me to that. So it's not the messaging of the Heart Associate. It's not, I just wasn't the right fit. I loved Rachel and I supported the cause because of her. Right. And so when she lost interest, when she moved on, I mean, she's still involved, but not to the depths, right? It I did a it wasn't that important to me. But it's not the organization's, it's nobody's fault, it's nobody's problem. It just wasn't in my ecosystem. It wasn't what was tied to my identity. We are always going to support or defend the thing that falls within our identity. If you're watching this, my dog very much wants to leave the room and I'm not letting him right out. So whatever, we will support or defend what falls within our identity. We will deny or deflect anything that falls outside of it. Your job, my friend, and I can help you with this if you so choose, is to expand your sense of self to make you a more powerful relationship builder, connector, and fundraiser. Okay. And last, respect what people say. They're telling you the truth about themselves, so believe it. And that's it for me on why donors act or not in this episode of the Influential Nonprofit. If you want to connect with me to learn what it's like to work with me, to learn how to be a brilliant and amazing relationship builder, to raise more money with ease and joy, there's a link on the notes. You can totally connect with me. I'm happy to talk with you and see I'm going to give you some great wisdom and some insights into how to start building relationships immediately. And if we can also talk about what it's like to work with me and how I can help you really, really maximize your influence and be the most influential leader and fundraiser possible. And that's it for me and this episode of the Influential Nonprofit. I will see you next time.